The way we remember cartoons and the way they actually were is sometimes very different. I mean, for the most part, it would seem that all the elements of kids shows are cute and cuddly, but sometimes when you review old footage of these classic shows, you see things that aren't as cute as you remember. A lot of the times they will have moments that will make you question whether or not it was appropriate for you to watch it as a kid. But guess what? You already did, so it's in your brain and there's nothing you can do about it. Hello, Most Amazing Top 10 family. I'm your host, Chada Reyna, and welcome back to Most Amazing Top 10. Today we are going to be diving into your childhood memories and most likely ruining them with our list of top 10 disturbing cartoon memories. If there are any of you at home who would like to see some more top 10 content, then you should check us out on Instagram and Facebook because there is a ton of extra stuff over there for you guys, and stick around until the end of this video because I'm going to be reading out and answering some questions that I get in my Instagram inbox. If you want me to read out and answer your question, then you can hit me up on the gram. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. Coming in at number 10, we have Batman's Flashbacks. Batman the Animated Series still stands as one of the best cartoons of all time, especially when you're talking about superhero cartoons. There is so much about the show that is accurate to the comics, and it helped people in the 90s embrace the darker Batman and make it the new mainstream image. Not to mention it has one of the best versions of the Joker ever seen. And part of what made the show so good is how well it was able to bring in the dark past of Bruce Wayne. Throughout the series, Bruce has flashbacks of his parents being killed right in front of him and how he feels a great pain because he wasn't able to save them. I mean, Bruce, you were just a kid. I don't think you should let that weigh on your soul. What were you supposed to do? Disarm a dude with your 10-year-old self? But watching a grown man deal with the very harsh reality that his parents were killed right in front of him and that he was unable to save them is pretty heavy for a kids show, and that is why it is perfect for this list. Also, who needs therapy when you got billions of dollars, a fear of bats, and Superman is your best friend? Coming in at number 9, we have Mufasa dying. Every kid from the 90s remembers this moment. This is one of the hardest things to watch to this day. If you have never seen Lion King, you have had your time, and I'm about to spoil the whole movie for you. And I don't feel bad about it because there's even been a new live action one that recently came out, so you've had lots of opportunities to see this movie. Get hooked up with like Disney Plus or something like that. But in this infamous scene, the evil Scar manipulates Simba so he ends up caught in a stampede, and then he tells Mufasa that he must go rescue his son. Mufasa saves Simba, but then puts himself in a vulnerable position where Scar comes in and kills him. And then you have a scene where Mufasa is lying on the ground dead, and Simba comes up to his dad's dead body and keeps saying, "Get up." It's hitting me right now. I'm just thinking about it. What the hell? How hard do you have to make me cry, Disney? What's wrong with you? I only have so many tears I can shed in one sitting. Here's a fun story about that movie. I saw this movie in theaters when I was a kid, and a few scenes before Mufasa gets killed, I turned to my mom and I said, "That's like me and Dad." And then boom, he dies, and my mom cried the whole movie. Who knew you could emotionally scar your parents? Coming in at number 8, we have Dexter Can See. Dexter's Laboratory is one of the best cartoons of all time, and it might have the best intro of any cartoon ever. That song is amazing. Every episode has Dexter using his big brain to whip up something to solve his problems, but of course he always makes things worse. And in one episode where Dexter wants to get rid of his glasses, he builds a machine to give him the best laser eye surgery possible. Now, Dexter can see every last detail of the world around him, but the thing is, he can see too good. His vision is so perfect that the people around him look disgusting and deformed, and he can't even bear to look at his own family. Coming in at number 7, we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Creeps. In the classic TMNT cartoon, there was the tomboyish news reporter April O'Neil. Well, one episode she is invited to a fancy party at an embassy, and she decides that she's gonna get all spruced up for the event. So she does her hair and she gets a dress, and then she shows off her look to the turtles. Then all of a sudden the turtles start to get interested in her in a way that's a little more serious than friendship. In fun Saturday morning cartoon style, this is just a crush episode, but when we break down the cross-species sexual interest, it becomes very disturbing. Coming in at number 6, we have the Mr. Meaty Tapeworm. It's got some puppets that have some strange features, and all their faces look like they're bulging out of their heads. And the whole show takes place in a fast food joint that is run so horribly it could ruin anyone's appetite. But in one particular episode, Parker eats some raw meat and gets a tapeworm rummaging around in his insides. Eventually you get to see the tapeworm as it gets fished out of Parker, and the thing is huge. It was like there was an anaconda living inside him. And then you get to to see the tapeworm find a new host and crawl down their throat. It sounds like I just described a horror movie to you. Coming in at number 5, we have Katara Learns Bloodbending. Avatar stands not as just a great cartoon, but as an amazing television show, as it tackles so many issues involving war, famine, greed, and in this particular episode, the acquiring of power. The Avatar gang is on an adventure and they meet a mysterious lady who teaches Katara a new ability. As the Avatar series moves on, we learn that all of the bending techniques can be used to manipulate something more advanced. With fire, we have lightning, earth turns to metal, and in the case of water, it turns to blood. As you can imagine, blood bending a person is pretty much an instant kill. The psychological effect on Katara is serious. It's one of the heaviest parts of the show when Katara breaks down and starts crying. Coming in at number 4, we have Sabretooth's flashbacks. The 90s X-Men cartoon is an absolute home run. It opened up so many kids to the world of mutants, and that world is not always rainbows and lollipops. In one particular episode, Sabretooth and Wolverine put their differences aside, and the two venture up to Canada to revisit some areas they used to know, and this unlocks some pretty dark memories, particularly one where Sabretooth has a flashback about how his dad used to force him to live in a damp, dark basement on a dirt floor because of his mutation, and how his dad would come down and beat him with a 2x4. Oh my god, that's really messed up. Coming at number 3, we have Batman Beyond Earth Mover. You can't really get more intense than looking at your own parent's dead body. In the episode Earth Mover, a man dies, but through some cartoon magic his corpse is given some superpowers with chemical waste. Being buried in the ground, he is able to use his powers to summon earth golems to send out for his bidding. He's doing this mostly to protect his daughter, and eventually she comes face to face with her father's rotting body that is all juiced up from the chemical spill. That's not something you're going to forget anytime soon. Coming in at number 2, we have the opening scene from Up. This is hands down one of the most screw you moments in anything animated. Like, Pixar doesn't play nice for a second in this movie. They're like, hey, why don't we open up the movie with a couple that actually found true love? They really love each other. And you know what? They're gonna stick it out for each other no matter what happens. They're gonna love each other until the end. They get married and it's a beautiful wedding. All of their friends are there. They build a home together. They really love this home and it brings them so much closer together because they work on it together. This sounds like the most beautiful love story of all time, and it sounds like I'm telling you most of a movie. No, we're only 2 minutes into the movie. Then they have a dream to go on an amazing adventure together, but the house keeps breaking down, so they have to keep taking their savings out to fix the house, and they have to put their dream on hold. So they decide, why don't they start a family? That sounds wholesome, and two people who love each other that much deserve this. Well, it turns out she can't have kids. Are you sad yet? Well, if you weren't, then she gets sick and she slowly dies. And then an old man who really only loved one person in his life is left alone. 4 minutes into a movie. Coming into the number 1 spot, we have the Jelly Bean Man from Rick and Morty. Not all cartoons are for kids, and I think Rick and Morty is a perfect example of that. Rick and Morty still stands as one of my favorite shows of all time, but there have definitely been some moments in that show that are a little questionable. Like the episode where Morty gets to pick the adventure. This is the episode Meeseeks and Destroy. Outside of all the other crazy stuff that goes on in the episode, like the Meeseeks coming together in a mob to kill Jerry, there's also a part where Rick and Morty stop at what looks like a mystical tavern. They want to grab a drink and continue on their adventure. Morty steps into the bathroom to take a pee before they leave, and then the Jelly Bean King comes into the bathroom. He seems friendly at first, but then he tries to kiss Morty, and then he attacks Morty, and then Morty has to fight him off and smashes his head in a toilet. The whole scene is super disturbing and makes me so uncomfortable. I think that might be the most disturbing scene in all of Rick and Morty, and this is a show that has people's heads explode on the regular. If you can think of a scene that is worse than that, please leave it in the comments below. Alright everyone, that has been our list, and as promised I'm going to be answering some questions from my Instagram inbox. Miss Music wrote in and asked, have you been on any TV shows? I feel like I've seen you on at least one. And the answer is yes, I was on a show about medical mysteries where I was some dude from the 70s and I had to lay on a gurney all day long. I fell asleep like 4 times in the shooting. And that is about as far as I've gone in TV shows. You're way more likely to see me in a commercial. Liam5201 wrote in and asked, how how was quarantine for you? And for me, it has been pretty alright. We were able to keep making top 10 content from home, and that's pretty cool. And Canada has been doing a solid job with dealing with all the virus stuff, and it looks like we're going to be returning back to normal pretty quickly. I'm hoping that stand-up comedy comes back in the next few months, but that is still yet to be determined. And finally, Lukey Stores wrote in and asked, have you had any paranormal encounters after doing any urban legends videos? For me, I personally have not. There's nothing weird that has gone on from researching a video, but I do get creeped out sometimes. The thing that creeps me out way more than urban legend videos is things about real scary things, like things that have happened with insane prisoners, because those people are real and there's more people like that. Alright everyone, that has been our list. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Until next time, I have been your host, Che Arena, and keep watching those disturbing cartoons. Bye.